Long before this moment, people gathered under these stars to create, reflect, and connect. This evening is guided by James, who brings this experience to life. I'll be here with you, supporting, encouraging, and rooting for you. Remember, there is no right or wrong way to paint, so unleash your inner artist, and I will see you later. James, take it away.
Alright guys, so my name's James. I'm going to be your instructor for today's guided painting session. So the painting that we're going to do for today is the moonset painting. Alright, so we can go ahead and get everything ready. Open your canvas, make sure that gets into the trash. The colors that you're going to need for this painting are going to be the ultramarine, titanium white, black, and green. So what we're going to do here is put a few drops around the... Actually, before we do that, we're going to go ahead and find our masking tape. Going to put a horizon on the canvas here. Probably be about, just measure it out, a visual. Then you're going to want to put it maybe like 1/3 of the way up, not halfway, but maybe like 1/3 of the way. Visually inspect it, make sure it's pretty level. Alright, now once you have the horizon leveled out, you can go ahead and find your little moon sticker. Place the moon in the center of the canvas. Make sure it sticks pretty well. Alright, then we can go ahead and grab the blue. Put a few drops around the outer perimeter of the top section. And when I say a few, I mean maybe, depending on the size of the canvas that you chose, will determine how many drops you put. Make sure you shake it really good too before you go ahead and apply it. Put a little more on this first one since it came out a little bit watery. Then I'll go ahead and take my titanium white, give it a good shake. And then likewise, I'll add a few drops around. Maybe 4 for this one. We are going to use this again later, so we'll keep that around. Alright, now you can go ahead and grab your 1.5 inch brush, or again, depending on the canvas size, but you're going to want to grab a thicker brush so it's a little easier. And what you're going to do is you're going to start to blend all these colors in, starting from the outside, working your way in. Feel free to do it in a circular motion, doesn't have to be all squarish, because again, you're going to swirl these colors in to kind of blend the sky. And also make sure you do not go below the horizon that we laid out with the tape. If you want, you can go ahead and paint the sides of your canvas. Be careful not to get it on your board though, because it might come off on the canvas later somewhere. But I did just paint mine. Paint this side as well. Stand it up a little bit. Let's go ahead and get the top. Again, you're gonna keep brushing the swirls until the paint blends in pretty evenly. You'll know when it's blended in pretty well because it'll look like a night sky to you. If you want to keep swirls in it, that's up to you. Totally your call as the artist. I'm trying to get all my swirls out though. Alright, cool. To me it's looking much more like a sky. Okay, so now that we have our sky pretty set there, somehow a hair came out of my brush. Go ahead and fix those ridges. Alright, so I'm done with my sky, so I'm gonna go ahead and make sure I put the brush into the water. That way we can reuse this later. Alright, we'll take a quick pause so that way the top portion can dry before we start the bottom portion. So we'll take a 5-minute break and then we'll continue. Alright, so we're back. Top half was dry. So this is what we're going to do now. Alright, we're going to take this bottom sticker off. Say hello to your new horizon. Get rid of this piece here. Alright, so we can go ahead and take titanium blue again. Give a drop or two at the bottom, or three. You can take the same blue brush out of your water, dry it off. Yeah, go ahead and grab the same brush that you put in your water that you used for the blue the first time and just dry it off. Use the napkins there and dab it until it's pretty dry. Doesn't have to be completely dry, just mostly dry. Alright, then you can go ahead and do the same thing towards the bottom. Kind of blend it in. We're not going to use white just yet, but blend it in lightly. Maybe use only 2 drops. 3 drops may have been a little bit much. Alright, so now that you've blended in the blue towards the bottom, you're going to go ahead and take the titanium white. Make sure it's shaped up really well. You're going to put a little drop of it into your paint palette. You get a small brush, maybe about a size number 2. Get a little white. Paint around the moon. The moon's aura doesn't have to be perfectly circular, just as best as you can. But you don't want to overload it with white when you do this either, because then you have a lot more to spread around. And then you just keep painting it until it blends in. You want to try to avoid any solid lines. So just keep painting until you brush them out. I'm gonna go ahead and just use a dabbing wheel just so I can get like these solid ridges out. You don't normally see that in this guy. Alright, you can go ahead and draw one white line where the horizon was at. And then you can draw another white line towards the back. Just a streak or two scattered randomly. It's going to be the moon reflection on the water. And it's alright if the paint hasn't completely dried. The blue paint. Just keep brushing, blending those colors in. Most likely not going to be a solid line for the horizon, so just blend it in as best as you can. So once you can actually go ahead and dip your brush in the water as well to help blend the colors. We are going to add more detail to the water later, so don't be too concerned about perfection here. Again, it's your art piece. Do what you want with it. Lift this little moon piece that we put here. That actually might work out well. Those can be craters. Also, I just want to remind you guys, if you mess up anywhere, feel free to try to correct it as best you can. That's the beautiful part of being an artist. You can do whatever you want to it and consider it art, a part of the art. Not sure how that happened, but whatever, we're good. Alright, so we're gonna draw a few more reflections of the moon in the waves. Try to blend those in a little more. Alright. Now we'll go ahead and create some shadows of the waves. So go ahead and rinse off the brush that you're currently using. Make sure it's all the way clean. Should be a small one. Dip it on your napkin to dry it off. Go ahead and put a little bit of black paint on your palette once you've shaken it. Alright. A few dabs into the black. Alright, so when it comes to the waves, what you're going to want to try to do is not put too many, but not put too few either. So we're going to try to space them out accordingly. And as far as the design goes, just imagine a wave and a shadow behind it. So we'll go a little bit like that, a little bit like that, here, here, and we'll just lightly use the tip of the brush. Alright, so that looks pretty good there. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do now is I'm gonna clean this brush, dip it in the water, dip it back on the napkin. I'm gonna mix a little bit of white and blue, and I'm gonna put the aura of other stars. So just a little circular motion, use a little more white. Yeah, so this is going to be the aura of other stars. So you can do that. Now you want to go ahead and clean your brush a little bit, well, all the way actually. But you'll still be using a light color, white, to be specific. Dry it off a little. Grab a little bit of white. Alright, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put tiny drops right in the middle of these blue auras. And then once you have the drops, we're gonna go ahead and put a horizontal and a vertical line in one, maybe two of them. Maybe three, is up to you, your call. But I probably do just a few. Alright, now I go ahead and just put a few more dots in the sky. Go ahead and dip your paintbrush and just lightly dab wherever you feel necessary. You can light up the whole sky. The lighter you tap, the smaller the star will be. Gonna just put a little bit more white into the moon. It's the art of blending right there. Alright, let me go ahead and clean my brush, put it back in the water, and push it against the metal part of the brush that's in the water. Alright, and what I'm going to go ahead and do now, after I dry this brush, I'm going to draw the trunk and the branches of the tree. So for that, I'm going to go ahead and maybe pour a little bit more black. Just a pea-sized amount, not too much y'all. Dip it lightly in the black. Then from the side, more or less a little bit above the horizon, I'll go ahead and just, you don't have to draw the trunk of the tree, you can just draw the branches. So lightly keep it off the canvas. Your tree can have as many branches as you want on it. There's no set number. Just whatever your heart tells you should have, put that many. Alright, I think that's enough there. Alright, so now that I have the branches, I'm going to go ahead and dip more into the black, but I'm going to dab it onto the palette. Alright, what we're going to do, actually we're going to try this technique. here, so we'll grab a few Q-tips here. Grab about 4 Q-tips. Hold them together. Dip them in the black. And then with this, we'll create the leaves. So kind of just dab it around the branches. Don't completely cover the branches though. We'll be putting more color into this shortly. Alright, so that looks pretty good with the black. Alright, then from here we're gonna lay these down on our palette. We'll get the green. Shake it up. We'll actually let this dry for a little bit too. You can blow on it or go put it in front of the fan, which is what I'm gonna do. So now that it's dried mostly, you get your green, put a pea-sized amount on your palette. We're just gonna go ahead and tape these together. Now that they're taped together and we have our green, we'll go ahead and dip these into the green, and we'll do the same thing over the black to paint greenish leaves. But when we paint green leaves, we're gonna want to keep the green more towards the moon side so we can make sure we have the shadow effect. Alright, so now that we put some green on the tree, I'd say go ahead and mix a little bit of white and green. Dab it in the white once or twice, dab it back in the green. Maybe swirl it around on the palette just to make sure it's a more whitish color than green. Then we'll go ahead and just dab this onto the tree as well. Give some of these leaves a little bit of light from the moon. Alright, so I'm gonna make sure you can see my branches, so I'm going to paint one more branch. Dab it into the paint, and then one streak is sufficient. Maybe a stronger streak here and here might make me feel better. Yeah, that's better. Alright, so I'll dip my brush into the water.
This painting holds a moment of you. If tonight meant something, we'd love your review.